You've seen it before. You know he wants you. You've felt the chemistry. He looks at you like you're the only person in the room. He laughs a little too hard at your jokes, and you know deep down that he craves you. So why, despite all this, does he never text, never call, never make that move? Here's the truth. Desire alone is not enough. A man can want you with every fiber of his being, but if his comfort, ego, or priorities get in the way, he will still not contact you. And instead of losing sleep over why he's silent, I want you to understand what's really happening so you can take back your power. There's a dangerous myth that if a man wants you, he'll move mountains to be with you. And while there's some truth to that, the real story is that people, men included, are often driven more by their fears than by their desires. A man can be obsessed with you, thinking about you every single day, but still not message you because he's stuck in a battle between what he wants and what he fears. Which brings me to the next point. Most men have an ego to protect. If he thinks there's even a small chance you'll reject him, he might avoid reaching out altogether. Some men would rather live with the fantasy of what could be than risk getting a direct no. But here's what's wild. His silence is not about you, it's about his insecurities. And the worst thing you can do? Chase him down to prove you're interested. Let's talk about effort. A man only values what he has to work for. If he knows you'll always be there, checking in, replying immediately, or making excuses for his lack of effort, guess what? He has no urgency to pursue you. Men are wired to appreciate what they feel they might lose. If he's too comfortable knowing you're waiting, he'll delay making a move until it's convenient for him. A man might crave you but remain distant if he thinks you're out of his league. He believes you're seeing someone else. He's unsure if you're interested. Men don't like to play games they think they'll lose. If he's uncertain about where he stands with you, he might choose to do nothing rather than take a risk. And here's a hard pill to swallow. If a man truly values you, he will make space for you in his life, period. Yes, life is busy. Yes, work is stressful. But when a man really wants to connect with you, he will find a way. If he's not making that effort, he might crave you, but he doesn't prioritize you. And that's your sign to move on. Instead of waiting by the phone or decoding his silence like it's some lost language, shift the dynamic. Here's how. Stop being the one who always reaches out. Let silence work in your favor. If he truly craves you, he'll feel the loss of your presence. Show that your life is full without him. Focus on yourself, your passions, your happiness. When he sees you're thriving without his validation, that's when his curiosity kicks in. Don't reward inconsistency. If he comes back with a "Hey, I miss you" text after weeks of nothing, don't just fall back into his arms. He needs to earn his way back. Desire is a powerful thing. It can consume someone's thoughts, keep them up at night, and make them fantasize about what could be. But as overwhelming as desire might feel, it does not necessarily translate into action. Just because a man craves you, thinks about you, or even imagines a future with you, does not mean he will pick up his phone and text you. Why? Because human behavior is driven by far more than just feeling. The gap between what we want and what we do is often filled with hesitation, fear, uncertainty, and personal limitations. A man may sit with the thought of you every single day, but that doesn't mean he will step forward to claim you. This is where many women get stuck, assuming that desire naturally leads to action, when in reality there are several forces at play that often hold him back. The illusion that wanting is enough. Many people live in the illusion that if someone wants them, they will make the effort. The problem is, wanting is passive. It requires nothing. It costs nothing. Action, on the other hand, takes courage, initiative, and sometimes even discomfort. Men can crave a woman on multiple levels, emotionally, physically, or even just in terms of curiosity. But that craving alone doesn't mean they are willing to step into the space where they have to risk something. A man can want to be with you, but avoid reaching out because the action required feels too uncertain, too risky, or too effortful, compared to the ease of simply thinking about you. How many times have you desired something, maybe a new job, a healthier lifestyle, or a dream vacation, yet done nothing to pursue it? Not because you didn't want it, but because other factors, fear, doubt, laziness, or competing priorities got in the way. The same applies to men when it comes to relationships. Desire can be comfortable, action is not. One of the biggest reasons men don't act on their feelings is because desire itself is enjoyable. Sitting with the thought of you, replaying old memories, or even just knowing that they could have you if they wanted is often enough for them. The fantasy of you might even be more appealing than the reality of taking action. Taking action requires vulnerability. It requires stepping outside of the comfort zone. It means he has to put himself on the line, potentially facing rejection, awkwardness, or even the realization that the connection isn't as perfect as he imagined in his mind. This is why so many men will leave you hanging in limbo. They feel the craving, but they also feel the weight of what action requires. And rather than step up and do something about it, they stay in the safe space of inaction, leaving you wondering where you stand. Fear of rejection and loss of control. For many men, the biggest reason they don't act is fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear of making a move only to realize that you are no longer interested. If a man is deeply attracted to you but senses that there is even a slight possibility that you won't reciprocate in the way he hopes, he may convince himself that it's better to do nothing than to risk rejection. But there's another layer to this: control. A man who is used to feeling in control of his emotions and his life may avoid making a move because the moment he does, he surrenders a part of that control. Reaching out to you puts him in a vulnerable position where he is the one waiting for a response. And if he's the kind of man who doesn't like feeling out of control, he might hold back, simply to avoid putting himself in a position where his emotions are at the mercy of someone else. Convenience and low-effort attraction in today's world, where distractions are everywhere and effort is seen as optional, some men simply won't take action because they don't feel like they have to. If they know you're available, if they sense that you're the one always reaching out, or if they assume you'll be there when they're finally ready, they may not feel the urgency to act. Craving is passive. It doesn't require work. Action, on the other hand, does. And if a man knows that he can sit back and still have access to you whenever he decides he wants it, he may never feel the need to step forward. Fear is a powerful force that shapes human behavior in ways we often don't even realize. When it comes to relationships, one of the biggest reasons men hold back from reaching out, even when they deeply crave a woman, is fear of rejection. This fear is often so intense that it overrides their desire, keeping them stuck in a place of hesitation and inaction. But it's not just about the rejection itself. It's about what rejection means to them, how it affects their sense of self, and how it challenges their ego. For many men, avoiding rejection isn't just about avoiding pain. It's about protecting their self-image, maintaining control, and steering clear of situations that make them feel weak or exposed. Rejection as a threat to self-worth. Men are conditioned, whether by society or their own experiences, to believe that success is tied to their ability to attract and keep a woman's attention. When a man approaches a woman, he isn't just asking for a date. He's putting a piece of his identity on the line. If he gets turned down, it's not just a simple no. It can feel like a personal failure. Even confident men experience this fear. The difference is how they handle it. Some push past it and take the risk anyway, understanding that rejection is part of life. Others, however, retreat into their shell, convincing themselves that avoiding the possibility of rejection is better than facing it head-on. For men who struggle with this, rejection isn't just a moment of discomfort, it's proof that they weren't good enough. And that can be a hard pill to swallow. So rather than put themselves in a situation where they might feel unworthy, many men choose to do nothing at all. The ego's need for protection. Ego plays a huge role in a man's decision-making, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. A man's ego is like a protective shield. It's the part of him that wants to feel strong, capable, and in control. When a man reaches out to a woman, he is making himself vulnerable. He is stepping into a space where he might not be met with the response he hopes for. For some men, the idea of losing face is worse than the idea of losing an opportunity. Their ego tells them, if you don't try, you can't fail. So they hold back, convincing themselves that it's better to wonder what if than to face the possibility of outright rejection. And here's where it gets complicated. Many of these men will still crave you. They will still think about you, still feel drawn to you, still imagine what it would be like to have you. But every time they consider making a move, their ego reminds them of the risk of looking foolish, the risk of getting ignored, the risk of exposing their feelings and not having them reciprocated. So instead of reaching out, they stay silent. They tell themselves a story. Maybe she's too busy, or she's probably not interested anyway, or even if she wanted to talk to me, she'd reach out first. These are all defense mechanisms, ways of protecting the ego from experiencing vulnerability, the fear of losing control. For many men, control is everything. It's not that they want to control you, but they want to feel in control of themselves, their emotions, their actions, their perception of power in a situation. The moment a man reaches out to you, he hands over a piece of that control. Suddenly, he's waiting for your response. Suddenly, he's not the one dictating the pace of interaction. If you don't reply, he's left wondering why. If you take too long, he starts questioning his own value. If you respond in a way he didn't expect, he's forced to deal with emotions he may not want to confront. For some men, this level of uncertainty is unbearable. So rather than risk putting themselves in a position where they feel powerless, they stay in their comfort zone. They crave you from a distance, but they don't take action because action means stepping into a space where they don't get to control the outcome, past trauma and negative experiences. A man's fear of rejection isn't always just about you. Sometimes it's about past experiences that have left a mark on his psyche. Maybe he's been turned down in a humiliating way before. Maybe he's been hurt in a past relationship and still carries the wounds. Maybe he's been conditioned to believe that expressing feelings makes him weak. Whatever the case, these experiences shape his actions. If a man has been burned before, he may hesitate to reach out again, even if you're completely different from anyone he's ever encountered. His brain is wired to avoid pain. And if rejection has been painful for him in the past, he will do whatever it takes to avoid reliving it. So this is why some men ghost instead of having an honest conversation. This is why some men pull away just when things seem to be getting serious. This is why some men will watch your Instagram stories, think about texting you, even type out a message, only to delete it before hitting send. It's not that they don't want you, it's that their fear of rejection and their need for ego protection is stronger than their willingness to take the risk. Comfort is one of the biggest killers of effort in any area of life, and relationships are no exception. When a man feels too comfortable, when he knows you'll always be there, always respond, always make yourself available, he doesn't feel the urgency to act. He may still crave you, he may still think about you, but he won't feel the need to put in effort. Why? Because in his mind, he doesn't have to. Think about the things people value most in life. career achievements, personal goals, fitness transformations. What do all these things have in common? They require effort. They require a person to step up, to push through challenges, to work for what they want. And because of that effort, the reward feels meaningful. Now imagine if all of those things came easily. Imagine if someone could get their dream body without exercising, land their dream job without applying, or win an Olympic medal without training. Would those things still feel as valuable? Probably not. The same applies to relationships. When a man feels like your presence, your time, and your attention are guaranteed no matter what he does, he doesn't feel the need to work for them. He may still desire you, but that desire doesn't translate into action because there's no perceived risk of losing you. Effort is directly tied to value. We value what we work for. If something requires zero effort, it's easy to take for granted. When a man knows that he doesn't have to do anything to keep you in his life, he starts to treat you as a given rather than a priority. Now, this doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. It doesn't mean he doesn't enjoy your company or even have strong feelings for you. But human nature dictates that people only chase what they feel they could lose. If he feels like he can never truly lose you, the drive to pursue disappears. This is why you often see situations where a man takes a woman for granted until she pulls away. The moment she stops being so available, the moment she stops reaching out first, the moment she stops making it easy for him, suddenly he wakes up. Suddenly he feels the loss. Suddenly he realizes that what he thought was guaranteed is no longer within his control. Effort isn't just about the chase. It's about how a man shows up in a relationship. The problem with too much comfort is that it doesn't just stop him from pursuing, it stops him from investing. A man who feels too comfortable might start slacking in the little things. He won't plan dates like he used to. He won't send thoughtful messages. He won't put in effort to make you feel special. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he doesn't feel the need to. In his mind, everything is already secure, so why put in extra effort? Over time, this can lead to a dynamic where you feel like you're the one doing all the work. You're the one initiating conversations. You're the one making plans. You're the one keeping the connection alive. And when that happens, the balance shifts. You become the pursuer while he becomes passive. The key to breaking this pattern is not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about recognizing the importance of space and balance. A relationship should never be built on the fear of loss, but there should be a natural awareness that effort is required to keep someone's attention. When you stop over-investing in someone who isn't putting in the same effort, a shift happens. He starts to realize that your time and attention are not unlimited resources. He starts to feel the absence of what he once took for granted, and that absence creates desire. Think about the last time you craved a food you couldn't have. The more unavailable it was, the more you wanted it. The same principle applies to relationships. When something is always accessible, it's easy to overlook. But the moment there's a little distance, the appreciation grows. Many women find themselves in situations where they're constantly giving while the man remains passive. They think, if I just show him how much I care, he'll step up. But that's not how attraction works. A man won't suddenly start valuing something he already knows he can have any time. Instead, attraction deepens when effort is reciprocal. It's not about making him chase. It's about making sure that you're not the only one doing the work. It's about recognizing when you're overgiving and stepping back to let him meet you halfway. When a man has to earn your time, attention, and affection, he values it more. He doesn't just assume you'll be there no matter what. He recognizes that your presence in his life is a privilege, not a given. And when that happens, effort becomes natural. It stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like something he wants to do because he sees you as someone worth showing up for. Uncertainty is a powerful force in human psychology. It can drive people toward action or freeze them in hesitation. When a man craves you but remains distant, it's often because he is caught in a web of uncertainty. He is unsure of where he stands with you, unclear about your level of interest, or overwhelmed by the perceived difficulty of winning you over. This uncertainty, rather than his actual level of desire, becomes the determining factor in whether he reaches out or holds back. Imagine standing at the edge of a diving board, looking down at the water below. You want to jump, but your mind starts racing. What if the water is too cold? What if I hit the bottom too hard? What if I embarrass myself? This is the exact mental loop that can stop a man from reaching out, even when he wants to. He craves you, he thinks about you, he even considers texting you. But then the what ifs creep in. What if she's not as interested as I am? What if she rejects me and I look foolish? What if I'm just one of many guys she's talking to? What if I make a move and ruin the dynamic we have? These thoughts create hesitation. The more uncertain he feels, the more he convinces himself that waiting is the safer option. He tells himself, I'll reach out later when I have a better read on her. But that moment never comes, and so he remains stuck in inaction. Men, like anyone else, don't want to invest their time and energy into something that feels like a losing game. If he's unsure whether you reciprocate his feelings, he might hold back, not because he doesn't want you, but because he doesn't want to chase without a chance of success. This is especially true if he's been burned in the past. If a man has put effort into someone before and been met with rejection or indifference, he's going to be much more cautious the next time around. He's going to hesitate before making himself vulnerable again. Uncertainty feels risky. And if a man sees you as someone who might not be interested, or someone who seems difficult to impress, he may decide it's easier to keep his distance than to put himself in a situation where he could fail. There's a fine line between being desirable and being intimidating. Some women are naturally high value. They carry themselves with confidence. They have strong boundaries, and they don't settle for less than they deserve. While these qualities make them incredibly attractive, they can also make men hesitant. If a man sees you as someone who is too much of a challenge, he might assume he doesn't have a real shot. He might think, she probably has a ton of guys chasing her. She's way out of my league. She wouldn't take me seriously. I don't know what to say to impress her. Rather than stepping up, he may convince himself that you're the one who should make the first move. This is how men end up admiring from afar, wanting you, craving you, but never actually doing anything about it. Another major reason a man may crave you but not reach out is because he doesn't know where you stand. If your signals are inconsistent, one moment warm and inviting, the next distant and unavailable, he will struggle to gauge how he should act. If you're friendly but not flirty, he may assume you see him only as a friend. If you engage with him one day but ignore him the next, he may think you're not truly interested. If you respond positively but never initiate, he may feel like he's chasing without reciprocity. Men, despite their reputation for confidence, are not mind readers. If he doesn't feel secure in the idea that you like him, he may hesitate to act on his feelings. He may worry that he's misinterpreting things. And rather than risk embarrassment, he'll play it safe by keeping his distance. While uncertainty can be a real reason for hesitation, it can also be a convenient excuse. Some men use uncertainty as a shield to avoid putting in effort. Instead of stepping up and taking a chance, they hide behind, "I just wasn't sure how she felt," as a way to justify their inaction. The truth is, when a man truly wants someone and has enough confidence, he will find a way to push past his uncertainty. He will risk rejection. He will take the initiative. The difference between the men who do and the men who don't often comes down to their level of courage and self-assurance. When a man craves you but never contacts you, it often boils down to a fundamental truth. People invest in what they truly value. If he isn't making an effort to reach out, it could mean that he doesn't prioritize the connection in the same way you do. This doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't find you attractive or doesn't enjoy your presence. It simply means that, for whatever reason, his level of investment doesn't match yours. Understanding this concept is crucial because it allows you to stop overanalyzing his silence and instead focus on what truly matters, his actions. Investment reflects value. Imagine two people who both love going to the gym. One person makes it a non-negotiable part of their daily routine, waking up at 5 a.m., preparing meals to support their fitness goals, and consistently pushing themselves to improve. The other person likes the idea of working out, but rarely prioritizes it, skipping sessions, making excuses, and only showing up when it's convenient. Both enjoy fitness, but their level of investment tells you everything you need to know about how much they value it. This same principle applies to relationships. A man can crave you, think about you, even fantasize about being with you, but if he isn't showing up, if he isn't making an effort, then he isn't truly invested. And when someone isn't invested, it's usually because they don't see the connection as something essential in their life. How priorities shape his actions, every person has a set of priorities, things they consider most important at any given time. A man who isn't reaching out to you may be placing his focus elsewhere, whether that's his career, his personal goals, his friendships, or even other romantic interests. It's easy to take a man's lack of effort personally, but more often than not, it has little to do with you and everything to do with where he is directing his energy. If he's deeply focused on building his career, he might push relationships to the back burner, believing that success needs to come first. If he has personal struggles, mental health issues, family responsibilities, financial stress, he might not have the emotional capacity to pursue anything seriously. If he's dating multiple people, he may be keeping his options open, unwilling to fully invest in just one person. The key takeaway? When a man truly values you and sees you as a priority, he will make an effort, even when he's busy. Even when he's stressed, even when life gets complicated. Effort is a choice, and people always find time for what matters to them. When a man enjoys you but doesn't invest, a crucial distinction to make is the difference between enjoying someone and valuing them. A man can enjoy your presence, he can laugh with you, flirt with you, even crave you, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's willing to invest in you. Think of it like a casual hobby versus a serious passion. Someone might enjoy playing the guitar occasionally, but that doesn't mean they're going to dedicate hours every day to mastering it. In the same way, a man might enjoy the idea of you, but if he isn't consistently making an effort, it's a sign that he doesn't see the connection as something he needs to nurture. The harsh reality: sometimes you're just not a priority. It's a difficult truth to accept, but sometimes when a man isn't reaching out, it simply means you're not a priority in his life. Not because you aren't worthy of being a priority, but because he doesn't see you as one. This is where many women fall into the trap of making excuses for his behavior. Maybe he's just shy. Maybe he's afraid of rejection. Maybe he's waiting for the perfect moment to reach out. While these explanations can sometimes be true, they don't change the core reality. If he wanted to reach out, he would. The right man won't need constant nudging or endless signals to step up. He will choose to invest in you because he sees you as valuable. How to respond to a man who doesn't invest? The best way to handle a man who isn't reaching out is to take his actions at face value. Instead of trying to decode his silence or make excuses for his lack of effort, recognize that a man's investment level speaks louder than any words ever could. If he's not texting you, calling you, or making plans, he isn't prioritizing you. If he only reaches out when it's convenient for him, He sees you as an option, not a priority. If he constantly makes excuses but never takes action, he's showing you where you stand. You deserve someone who actively chooses you, not someone who only craves you in moments of boredom or convenience. The right man won't just think about you, he will show up for you. When a man craves you, but doesn't reach out, the worst thing you can do is sit around, overanalyzing his silence, wondering what he's thinking, or waiting for him to make a move. The reality is you hold more power than you think. Instead of chasing, worrying, or doubting yourself, you can shift the dynamic in your favor by focusing on your self-worth, creating mystery, and allowing him to come to you. Reclaiming your power, the self-worth shift. Everything in dating and relationships starts with how you see yourself. If you operate from a mindset of lack, feeling like you need his validation, attention, or approval, you're automatically placing him on a pedestal. This energy is felt, even if you never say a word. Men are instinctively drawn to confidence, not forced, fake confidence, but genuine self-worth. The kind that says, I know my value and I don't need external validation to feel complete. Think of the most magnetic women you've ever encountered. They aren't the ones waiting by the phone, hoping for a man to notice them. They are living their lives, pursuing their passions, enjoying their friendships, and investing in. When a man senses that you are fulfilled, with or without him, it completely shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, he is the one wondering where he stands with you. This doesn't mean playing games or pretending to be indifferent. It means genuinely prioritizing your happiness over whether or not he texts you back. Because here's the truth. A man is far more likely to pursue a woman who radiates self-assurance than one who constantly questions where she stands with him. The art of creating mystery. One of the biggest mistakes women make when a man shows interest but doesn't follow through is over-explaining, over-texting, or over-investing. When you give too much, too soon, whether that's your time, energy, or emotional availability, you eliminate any sense of mystery, and mystery is what keeps attraction alive. Think about it. When you know everything there is to know about someone right away, the excitement fades. But when there's a sense of unpredictability, when someone has layers that take time to uncover, that's when curiosity grows. So how do you create mystery in a natural, authentic way? Don't be overly available. If he knows you'll drop everything the moment he reaches out, he won't feel the need to put in effort. Keep your schedule full with things that bring you joy, whether or not he's in the picture. Hold back a little. When you do communicate, don't feel the need to share every detail of your life all at once. Let him wonder about you. Let him earn the privilege of knowing you on a deeper level. Be unpredictable. If he expects you to always initiate, take a step back. If he assumes you'll always reply immediately, slow down. When you create small moments of uncertainty, it triggers his desire to chase rather than coast, letting him come to you. Men are naturally wired to pursue. When they truly want something, they go after it. The problem is, many women take that pursuit away by doing all the work for them. If a man isn't reaching out, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, maybe he's too shy, maybe he just needs a little push, maybe I should check in first so he knows I'm interested. But here's the reality. If a man wants to talk to you, he will find a way. And if he doesn't, that's an answer in itself. By stepping back and giving him space to come to you, you achieve two things. You allow him to show you how interested he actually is. A man's level of effort reveals everything you need to know about his priorities. You signal that you are not desperate for his attention. You are choosing who gets access to your time rather than waiting around for someone to choose you. This doesn't mean playing hard to get in a manipulative way. It means respecting yourself enough to require effort instead of settling for breadcrumbs. shifting the focus back to you. The real magic happens when you stop obsessing over his actions and start focusing on your own energy. Instead of worrying about whether or not he contacts you, shift your focus to becoming a woman who naturally attracts the right kind of attention. Invest in yourself. Whether it's your health, career, passions, or friendships, build a life that excites you. When you're truly happy on your own, the right people will want to be part of it. Develop emotional resilience. Instead of reacting to his silence with frustration or self-doubt, remind yourself, his actions are a reflection of him, not your worth. Raise your standards. The more you value yourself, the less patience you'll have for men who offer inconsistency, half-hearted effort, or mixed signals. Attraction is never about convincing someone to want you. It's about embodying the kind of self-worth that naturally draws in those who recognize your value. And when you truly step into that power, the right man won't just crave you, he'll pursue you. The bottom line is this: you are the prize. When a man craves you but doesn't contact you, it's not your job to chase him, decode his mixed signals, or lower your standards to accommodate his lack of effort. The most attractive thing you can do is own your worth. Shift your focus from why he isn't reaching out to why you deserve someone who does. Build a life that excites you. Create space for the right energy to enter, and never settle for less than what you truly deserve. When you embrace your power, confidence, and self-respect, you won't have to wonder why he isn't reaching out. The right man will make sure you know exactly where you stand.